What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Cosmic Reactions. Back with another one today. Y'all really seemed to like the last video, so I figured I'd go in the same direction. This one's called The Race to Harness Quantum Computing, Mind-Bending Power, The Future with Hannah Fry. And this is by Bloomberg Originals. Alright, guys, let's get into it.
Hidden amongst these snow-covered hills is a secretive institution. Home to a revolutionary machine that can harness physics so strange it sounds like magic.
This is IBM's research facility. It's where some of the biggest breakthroughs in the history of computer science have happened, and probably going to be home to a few more, because this is where they build quantum computers.
I didn't even know we had a quantum computer yet. I thought they were still working on that. Isn't quantum computers kind of like a computer mixed with like DNA or like DNA or human or plant material or so? It's living basically, right? Isn't that what quantum means? I'm probably completely wrong. If I am, please just tell me in the comments.
Their potential is huge, promising breakthroughs in material science, medicine, fundamental physics, and more. But there is a dark side, because they will come with the ability to decrypt all internet communication. Experts say there is now a quantum arms race between the United States and its biggest economic rival, China. I'm Professor Hannah Fry, mathematician and writer. I want to know where quantum technology will take us, and with international security under threat, who will come out on top?
Sometimes it would be awesome if we could just take a peek or just be a fly on the wall in some of these laboratories. But there's some of them I wouldn't ever want to see. But as far as the computing goes, I would love to see something like that, especially just to be a fly on the wall. In China, I wonder how far along they are. I bet they already have something, just like I bet we do too. And that last video I watched with that chip, I couldn't stop thinking about that video since I recorded it. I just don't think that we made that, or I definitely think that we had some outside help, like outside of this world. And I don't care what people think. That's just what I believe, because I don't believe a human could make something like that. But anyway, let me stop talking about the last video. I don't understand, though, why they couldn't use that chip from the last video to build a quantum computer or put it in a computer. Wouldn't it be like next level if it is what they said it was?
This is the research headquarters for one of the oldest companies in tech, IBM. They've been inventing new computing technology here since the 1960s.
Wow, I didn't know.
It's like the Jetsons meets the Flintstones.
Quantum scientist Olivia Lanes is showing me IBM's newest experimental machine.
This big shiny behemoth is IBM Quantum System 2.
That's a computer?
Sounds like it's on.
Looks like a
What's the big
daggone
deal
elevator.
there? I mean, why not just build an ordinary supercomputer?
It's a totally different avenue. It's not just
Why, though? What makes it
supercomputers,
different?
but better, or AI, but more powerful. It's an entirely different way of computing.
Explain it.
The big difference is the computer's ability to harness the mysterious effects of quantum physics. Standard computers, they calculate by using billions of tiny little on and off switches known as bits. Now these things, they're very reliable, they're very accurate, and they work together in sequence. So, if you ask a standard computer to solve a maze, it will do so by checking through every possible path one by one until it finds a solution. Now, depending on the size of the maze, that could take seconds or minutes, or potentially, for a really big maze, even years. A quantum computer, on the other hand, works a little bit differently. There, the bits are known as quantum bits or qubits, and rather than just being on or off, a qubit can be held in something called a superposition, where it can be both on and off at the same time. Now, okay, I know that
That sounds awfully a lot like time travel to me. You can't be in two places at once without time travel. Right?
doesn't really make a lot of sense. But unfortunately, that is just how physics works down at the atomic level. So go with me. This bizarre ability of a qubit to be in two states at once means that a series of qubits can solve lots of calculations simultaneously. And so, if you ask a quantum computer to solve a maze, it means it can consider all possible routes at
one time.
giving
Wow.
you the answer in an instant.
Wow.
It could allow a quantum...
Look, I know I said this in the last video, but how can we make something like this? I do not understand it. This is way beyond our comprehension. I know we understand physics, but how can we invent something that can be in two states at once? Off and on at the same time, or however she explained it. That's basically time travel. And I know we sent a photon or a beam of light or something back in time. I can't remember what it was. I'll have to find that video and I'll react to that next. But that's amazing to me. We had to have some outside help. I don't care what nobody says. There's just no way. There's no way.
computer to complete in minutes computations so complex that it would take
My bad. Imagine gaming on something like that.
today's supercomputers millions of years. But that's not the only reason they're a game changer for science.
I think what it really comes down to is that nature is quantum mechanical. When you get down to molecular and atomic interactions, nature does not obey classical physics. It's just a very crude approximation. And if we really want to understand how nature evolves in time, we have to have a system that obeys quantum physics.
So I guess this finally gives us the opportunity to do simulations down at the level of atoms. And when you have that, I mean, you can design drugs at the level of atoms.
That's
You
right.
can design materials, batteries. And we haven't had this before.
We've never had that.
So it's legit?
When
It's
quantum
completely
computing comes up in
done?
Conversation. People are excited about it, but they're excited about the amount of power it gives you, about how quickly you can do computations. Because, okay, sure, all of that stuff might be true, but we should be thinking of this as though someone has just invented the telescope, and all of a sudden, we can see and understand things at a scale that we just did not have access to before.
That's the
I don't think we should be inventing anything that's smarter than us or has the capability to even grow even smarter than what we made it originally. That is crazy to me. Like, that's just asking for trouble. But of course, we build things like that, just like nukes and things like that, that the world would be a lot better off if we didn't have weapons, if nobody had them. But to build something that's smarter than you to begin with and can learn as it goes and grow even smarter is insane to me. I mean, that thing is way smarter than us. I know it's not a living thing, but still, I mean, the things it can do are crazy. Just imagine that type of computing power in a walking and talking AI.
ambition, at least. Quantum computers cannot yet perform useful calculations better than a supercomputer, because in practice, getting even a handful of qubits to give you a reliable answer is phenomenally difficult.
Yep. Now you got it. And then you go straight.
Oh my God. Whoa!
This is IBM's
All right,
lab,
lady.
where they test out new hardware.
She
A
was like,
place where we can see the guts of the machine.
wow.
Hey,
My bad, guys.
real quick, how would you find the answer in all this data?
You get Sasvaya.
That's fine. Cool.
I'll get it eventually.
Oh, here we go.
The quickest way from a billion points of data to a point of
Come
view.
on now.
Sasvaya.
Oh, that is
There we go.
extraordinary.
That is
This
amazing.
is what System 2 looks like inside.
Yeah.
How is
What
that
are
a
we looking at
computer?
then?
I think a lot of people have a slight misconception and they see, this whole gold shiny thing and they think
That
this
looks
is
nothing
a
like a
computer.
regular computer.
That's actually not true.
No?
This
What
is
is
the
it?
quantum computer. So this
That's
tiny
it?
little thing, right?
That little
this is
chip?
the Heron chip. This is the 133 qubits.
So is that other chip where we watched the video at, my last video, is it stronger than that chip, I wonder?
That I am holding in the palm of my hand.
Or is it
How much is
two
that worth?
completely different things?
A lot.
Don't drop it.
I'm just gonna try not to.
The chip contains the qubits that carry out the computation, and it's fair to say they're a little fussy.
We're trying to change the energy state of the qubit between 0 and 1 in a very controlled way. So any type of outside energy that might change it slightly in a way, except for what we're trying to do, will break your algorithm and give you the wrong answer.
Outside energy includes any heat. To preserve the delicate quantum state of the qubits, the chip must be kept extremely cold. This tangle of gold-plated pipes and wires is in fact a cooling system that chills the chip to just above absolute.
So all that is just cooling. Okay. My bad. I paused right at the answer. My bad. Okay.
Chills the chip to just above absolute zero.
Oh,
For
wow.
comparison,
So why does she... I guess it only matters if it's running, because she's holding it in her hand right now, and I know they're not standing in an absolute zero room.
the cosmic microwave background in space is way warmer. That's orders of magnitude warmer.
Oh my goodness.
So it is the coldest thing in the known universe.
Which is incomprehensibly cold.
But these guys like it.
They like it. Focus on your work. Stop paying attention to any of the energy around you.
That's right.
IBM say they'll unlock quantum's full potential by 2033.
Wow.
As you can imagine, it's been an expensive endeavour.
Do you have any idea how much IBM will have spent on this quantum program?
We
Billions.
haven't broken out, but I think it's fair to say it's like obviously many billions of dollars of investment. Our company spends close to $7 billion a year in R&D.
Holy
right?
crap,
and
man.
Today, in our world of technology,
With all the money they spend on things... What the heck? My bad, guys. With all the money our government spends on things, they could help the world out a lot more. With all the homeless people, all the people struggling, all the people who could barely pay their bills, they could do a lot with all that money. And I don't mean just America, I mean the whole world. There's lots of filthy rich countries and their citizens are struggling. But I feel like we're one of the greediest. But I haven't been around the world, so I don't know. That's just I forgot. That's just the impression I get.
if you're not investing at that scale, it's very hard to be a global leader.
But you do have competition, right? How much are you looking over your shoulder at what everyone else is doing?
We pay keen attention, right, to the entire ecosystem. But look, we take the perspective, because we've been sort of leaders and pioneers of this field, is that we want an industry. Like, we don't want to be, alone on this.
How much do you collaborate with other companies though, like Google and Microsoft, who are also in this space?
We collaborate a lot externally. For us, collaborating on this is like at the heart of making an ecosystem. It's back to the idea of creating an industry.
Do you collaborate with Chinese companies as well?
No, we do not.
Oh, go on.
That's the end
I
of
think
it.
we
just
acknowledge
don't.
the fact that in this technology, in quantum, right? But we're seeing it happen, by the way, in other areas like semiconductors and so on. There is not only a big economic dimension, but there's a big national security implication as well. Quantum falls squarely within the category of like sensitive technologies from that perspective.
Right.
How important is it for the US to be the leaders in this?
It's critically important. I think that is recognized in a bipartisan manner. One of the things we're witnessing is that we've seen the elevation of technology to the same level of geostrategic importance as trade or military alliances. Quantum computing is without a doubt one of the top technologies that the United States needs to lead.
There's so much good we could do with something like that, but it'll just be used for the wrong purposes. I'm sure a little good will come out of it, but I just know it's going to be used in war and spying on us. You know, we think we're being watched now with the computers. Imagine having a quantum computer in your house. I guarantee it'll be way worse than this. They could probably watch us. They could probably already watch us right where we sit if we wanted to, especially us with webcams and stuff. But I don't know, that's kind of scary and it's exciting, man. Guess we'll see what happens.
For now, the United States maintains supremacy in the development of quantum computers.
That we think.
But its biggest rival is fast catching up.
积聚力量，进行原创性、引领性。
We must concentrate our efforts on original and leading scientific and technological research.
技攻关，坚
And resolutely win the battle in key core technologies.
决打赢关键核心技术攻坚战。
China are betting big.
Man,
They've
UK
invested
is
over
past
$15
us.
billion, more than 3
Oh,
times
that's the money
any
we
other
spent.
country.
Okay.
They have dozens of new research institutes committed to quantum and hold more than half of all patents in quantum technology.
What?
Hey,
Hi there.
how you doing?
Dang, I thought China and Japan would be neck and neck. I'm a little surprised about that.
Security expert Anna Puglisi has been advising the US government on how not to fall behind.
China really does view science and technology as a national asset. It talks about not just leading, but dominating in these key areas.
Does the US not see science as a national asset as well?
I don't think we have the same kind of comprehensive strategic plan that brings together all facets of society.
And China has things up on us. You know, I believe, now don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that once kids get a certain age, they have to go to college. And it's the same way with Russia, I think. All women have to go to college. Why can't we do something like that? Why can't we have free health care like Canada, you know? It's just not fair. I mean, we could use that so much. That's why I say we're such a greedy country, because a lot of other countries do for their citizens, like Canada. I know I think they got free health care. Like, you don't have to pay to go to the hospital, which we shouldn't have to pay if we get hurt. I mean, that's part of life. But I don't know. Let me stop complaining. I'm just talking.
And really has that longer term investment. What we are facing is it's not an even and level playing field. Our researchers are essentially up against the funding of a nation state.
What are we talking about here in terms of the magnitude of difference of funding?
Some examples that folks have given me is, okay, I have a lab. I have 5 to 6, maybe 4 to 6 graduate students in my lab at any given time. There, the equivalent labs have 50, 100 graduate students or postdocs.
Wow, man.
The US is hitting back.
I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before.
Whoever is the first to realize the potential of quantum computers.
We can't stop them from building it. If they discover it, they're going to build it. I'm sure. Of course, they're even further ahead than their citizens know they are. Just like our government is way ahead than what we think they are. You know, they probably already know about time travel and stuff like that. I guarantee it.
Will wield incredible power.
Well, that's my opinion.
But
I
it's
shouldn't
a
say I
double-edged sword,
guarantee
because
it.
a world with quantum computers
T-Mobile's
sorry,
5G
guys.
network connects 100,000 Delta employees, so they can make
could be a world without secrets.
Pretty much all internet communication is based on scrambling it using a secret code, otherwise known as encryption. And a lot of it uses a very clever mathematical trick involving prime numbers. What you do is you take two prime numbers, let's say 17 and 31, and then you multiply them together to give you a code. In this case, 527. Now that bit is very straightforward, very easy for computers to do that, multiply numbers together. What is much harder is if you only have the long number, working out what those two secret primes were. The only way that you can do this with classical computers is by checking through all the prime numbers.
Every single combination.
Just to see if they work, one after the other after the other.
A common type of encryption, RSA, uses prime numbers that are hundreds of digits long. To crack those codes, it would take a conventional computer trillions of years.
And that's really the obstacle of encryption. It's not that it's impossible, it just takes a really, really long time. This is where quantum computing comes in, because quantum computers, using superposition, can simultaneously run numerous calculations at the same time, and can take something like this down to being crackable within just a few minutes.
That's amazing. Can do all those calculations at once. That's crazy.
It means that encrypted data can be hacked in no time. Few are more afraid of a mass global data breach than the banking industry.
Yeah.
Dr. Philip Interlura.
Especially nowadays, everything's run on computers. We just would have no chance. If that thing decided to take over, we'd be done. Or if it got in the wrong hands, or they put it into an AI, or anything like that. And I could see us doing all those things. You know, our government is, I don't know, just shady, man.
Is head.
I'm not saying all of them are, but I feel like most of them are.
Of quantum technology at HSBC.
We process £3.5 trillion worth of payments every year. So cryptography is a big deal for us.
How much of a catastrophe would this be if people just sat back and did nothing?
Well, ultimately, you're going to have customers' accounts being breached, which means things like identity theft and fraudulent transactions.
Money being stolen.
Money being stolen. That's then going to roll into financial losses. Customers will lose money, the banks will lose money. But I think ultimately the biggest risk of all is the element of trust. If customers can't trust their bank to keep their accounts and their money secure as well as their data, then it's kind of an existential risk.
Yeah, I mean, that is a fundamental part of banking. Can you be absolutely sure that this hasn't happened already? I mean, okay, if I had a quantum computer, I could read everything. I'm not sure I would tell people about it.
No, you probably wouldn't. I think it's very unlikely that anyone's got a quantum computer powerful enough right now to do this, but there may be something called a store now, decrypt later, or harvest now, decrypt later type of attack. And this is kind of the idea that state actors or malicious entities right now can start intercepting our data and storing it and just keeping it ready for the point in time when a cryptographically relevant quantum computer arrives.
Are we talking about national
That's scary
security
because they already store all our information. I wonder, is that going to happen? Or we going to be attacked one day? Or do our information where they just use it against us?
That's it. Is that ultimately where the big worry is?
That's probably the number one area that we should be concerned about, because state actors are most likely going to target national security kind of infrastructure to scrape and decipher information. State secrets will be uncovered.
You'll know who all the spies are.
You'll know who all the spies are. If you suddenly lose that secrecy and that security, then it causes all sorts of vulnerabilities on a personal level, on a national level, from a security perspective, from a commercial perspective. And so, this is a big, big deal.
HSBC say that doing nothing is simply not an option. The bank has been testing a way to secure its data against an attack from quantum computers.
How can you without another quantum computer?
Data is sent by laser pulses in an optical fiber.
This is Dr. Andrew Shields, head of quantum technology for Toshiba.
In general, fiber networks are very secure, but they are vulnerable to tapping If I introduce a small bend into the fiber, you can see some of the light is now leaking out. And actually, a hacker can use that. They can introduce a small bend to tap out some of the light and measure that to recover the data.
So that's all you need then?
So
is
that's
just
data
access to
right
the
there
cable.
in that light?
Indeed, it's very straightforward.
Goodness me.
Wow, that's all it takes?
Andrew has built a device that utilizes the strange world of quantum physics to send data in a way he claims can never be hacked. It's called quantum key distribution.
This is it. This is it, yes. What this box is doing is it's sending single photons through an optical fiber into the BT network. And we use that to form encryption keys. And those encryption keys are then being used to secure data sent between here and the data center in Berkshire.
The device generates a secret code using single particles of light, photons, which are sent one at a time down a fiber optic cable. A fundamental law of quantum physics is that if you observe a photon, you change its quantum state. And that means that if an eavesdropper tries to intercept the key, the code will be changed, rendering it unusable.
Oh, that's smart.
The device already uses...
Did I watch that light thing with you guys? Yeah, I think I did. Was that in the last video? I don't know. That's crazy, though, how if you're actually looking at it, it changes. No, I did watch that in a video. That was the video about are we living in a simulation. If y'all haven't watched that, you need to check it out because it talks all about this whole experiment they did.
Company BT's existing fibre network to send sensitive files across London to a data centre over 30 miles away.
Tell me about the information that you're sending using this method at the moment then.
So in the case of HSBC, it's financial data. But we've done other trials with hospitals, for instance, where they've been sending medical scan data, or with governments where they've been sending some government data.
Do you feel this sense of urgency from companies then, even though we're not quite there yet with quantum computers?
Yes, they absolutely are. There's an increasing realization that the quantum computer is coming.
How far away do you reckon it is?
Well, no, that's a very difficult question to answer. If I was a betting man, maybe I would say 5 to 7 years.
That's it? I thought we were still a long way away.
There are no maybes here. It's not if this is going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And it's the total acceptance that when it happens, our existing communication systems are no longer fit for purpose. And that puts you in a position where you have no choice but to find something else that works and is secure.
They should already be
Some
trying to
have
do
made
that
more
if it's that
progress
far
than
away.
others. In 2016, China shocked the world by launching a satellite capable of sending quantum keys over far greater distances than fiber optics. It's part of a wider quantum network that China has built, connecting banks, government and industry across the country, leaving other nations scrambling to catch up.
Singapore?
On the gleaming streets of Singapore, the quantum revolution has found fertile ground. Scientists here want to build an unhackable network that can be commercialized, so anyone can use it. Professor Alexander Ling runs the Centre for Quantum Technologies at the National University of Singapore, a government-funded group of scientists working on all sorts of quantum technology.
They told me that I would get to see some nano satellites.
Okay.
I think this is even more nano than I was expecting.
This is over 200 times lighter than China's quantum satellite.
Okay, tell me about the experiment then. What's the big aim?
The big goal over here is we want to build a global network where we can actually distribute quantum signals around the world. We can distribute quantum signals using optical fiber, except that there's a distance limit to it. We can't repeat those quantum signals. So we think that if you have satellites with optical fiber networks, you can actually build a more comprehensive network around the world.
So then when you send up a rocket, you presumably have like a number of these and you sort of put them out where you want them to be.
Yes. What we're doing in Singapore is
to test whether similar technology can go on much smaller satellites. You can imagine that if it works, you can have a fleet of smaller satellites that's more cost effective, and that makes the deployment of such a system more likely.
We made USAA for homeowners who like being ready. That's why we have safety tips for things like fires.
I ain't got the money right now.
His plan is to fire single photons into space and back again via a network of satellites and telescopes. These quantum keys would provide unhackable global communications.
That's
So
awesome.
this is your fancy photon catcher.
That's right. This is the telescope that's going to receive the signals from the satellite.
Long-distance communication is just one part of Professor Ling's work. They also collaborate with US and Chinese companies.
Quantum technology was developed in an era when international relations was more relaxed, let's put it that way. It started in the late 80s, early 90s, and everyone was open to having an exchange of people and ideas at that time.
Has that desire for collaboration continued, or has it been sort of shut down a bit more because of the geopolitical situation we find ourselves in?
I think definitely everyone's aware that there's tension, geopolitical tensions, and people from time to time talk about export controls and things like that. Everybody seems to have high expectations for when quantum technology will deliver those benefits. If you come in with controls too early, before a lot of the problems are worked out, you are probably going to be pushing the date of deployment, the date when you see those benefits, much further into the future.
And kind of squashing the innovation as it's happening.
That's right.
Scientists understand how quantum computers could supercharge their discoveries. Banks and governments see the risks and the potential for economic growth. But will a high-stakes duel for supremacy really define the future of global power?
Yeah.
I think the rhetoric around this is always framed as a quantum race, right? Between two giant superpowers who are throwing everything they have at it. But I sort of don't think that this is like races that we've had before. I don't think this is like the space race or the nuclear arms race, because I don't think that we're in a situation where you can only have one winner. The quantum future.
I don't know about
is
that, because it depends who makes it, how it's made, what it does, what's their intentions after they make it. All that stuff comes into play. So there probably will be a clear winner in all that. I doubt though. It's not like all the quantum computers are going to perform at the exact same level. Some are going to be better than others, stronger than others, smarter than others, and intentions is a big part of that too. Like, I don't know. That's the scariest part of it, is what the government will do with it.
About building a scientific tool that allows us to see and understand the universe down at the level of atoms in a way that we have just never had access to before. And okay, maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I think that that is something that all of humanity will stand to benefit from.
All right, guys, that was pretty interesting. Yeah, man, I like videos like this. It really makes you think, and it's crazy that how far along we've come since I was born in the 80s, and we didn't even have computers. And now we're making quantum computers. I wonder when we'll get to the point where we're making biocomputers, where it's mixed with DNA or something like that. Or is that even possible? Or is that a thing? Is somebody working on something like that? And also, I can't help but to compare this video with that last video we watched about that other chip. And what is that other chip for? Is that not for a computer also? Or I don't know. I'm confused. This stuff is hurting my brain. But it's so interesting. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. And I just want to say thank you guys for checking out my last one and joining me on this one. If y'all don't mind, just leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Y'all have a good evening and Merry Christmas.